Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door. Mario receives a letter from Princess Peach about the shady town named Rogueport and its mysterious location called the Thousand-Year Door, said to house an incredible treasure. However, once he arrives, Peach is nowhere to be found, and said door is locked, only opening with the power of the 7 crystal stars. However, there is said to be even greater treasure hidden around the basement of Rogueport, locked away in a dungeon called the Pit of 100 Trials. Knowing this, Mario thinks it would be more worth his time to go explore said dungeon, and sets out to that location instead since it's just open from the start, gathering whatever he needed around the plaza. Do you think he can do it? Hi, I'm That One Spy Guy, and this is Can You Beat Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door's Pit of 100 Trials in only the prologue? Now you're probably thinking, how do you even do this challenge, as the earliest you can do the pit is in Chapter 1, since you need Paper Mode in Hooktail's castle? Well, we have glitches. There are 2 different ways to get to the pit early. The first is the old way of doing it, and the worst way. By fighting the final boss and holding R at the end of the first phase, you'll trigger Paper Mode in the cutscene. Keep holding until the second phase fully loads in, and then you can let go. Defeat her and watch the credits, and you should be back at the title screen. Hold R again as you load the save next to the Thousand-Year Door, and you should still be in Paper Mode and can go through the gates and fly over to the other side. However, this takes a really long time. So I recommend the other way. Play through the game on a separate file until you get to Flurry's house and save. Before talking to Flurry for the very first time and triggering her cutscene, you want to move right and use cubes on the same exact frame. If you do it right, Mario should do something like this. That means you just start a super jump. Next you want to get a game over, and that's easy as you just walk outside and fall off the edge multiple times until your health reaches 0. Now that you're back on the title screen, go to your door save and position yourself here. Hold up and right and press and hold A the moment you touch the stairs and pray he starts moving left. If everything goes well, he should be up on the ledge and you can access the pit early. Next, let's talk about the rules and how we're going to tackle this challenge. Right now, our only goal is to make it to the 100th floor and defeat Bonetail, and the challenge is complete when we attain the ultimate treasure. As the only universal restriction given to all pit challenges, I cannot leave the pit early via the green pipe on the rest floors. Other than that, anything else goes. Before we start some prep work, let's look at how the pit works a little bit. It is semi-random in a sense. While you will get to a floor that has a guaranteed enemy on the overworld, the enemy set in the actual fight is determined by 3 preset patterns. Floor 1, for example, can have either a single Galumba or be partnered with a Dolebones or a Spinia. While some fights are more favorable than others, they are all still possible to win and will determine your start point and level count by the end. In addition, only 91 battles will have to be fought max, as 9 are just rest floors with equipment that is vital to the run. And occasionally you can find this puny who can warp you down even lower and skip some fights at the cost of potential star points. Now that we understand what we're dealing with, it's time we finally prepare to do this challenge. First, I'll go over what my original run had prior to going in. First, we start the game as normal, and just progress the story all the way to getting Sweet Treat. After that, everything becomes available to us, including the badge shop and Dazzle and his badges. After getting Power Smash, we can go get all the available star pieces that are around, 5 in all. However, we can still get 1 more star piece. Go back to the Thousand-Year Door room and perform the super jump glitch from earlier to get up to the pit room. There's a single sign sprite, which really isn't useful on its own, but there's another star piece just behind the stairs in the room. With 6 star pieces, we can finally get some extra badges from Dazzle. Notable badges he has are Pretty Lucky to occasionally avoid an attack, Happy Flower to gain some extra FP sometimes, Item Hog to increase the chance that an item will drop, or Heart Finder to make more hearts drop after battle. I went with Heart Finder for my run, since survival sounds like a requirement. Item Hog is a pretty good choice too. While not as reliable as Heart Finder, you can still get an occasional item and save it for when you're in a really bad spot. On the way, make sure you grab the hidden Pretty Lucky and head to the badge shop. We don't have many coins to work with, so think very carefully and grab what you absolutely need. Notable badges here are Power Jump for extra jump damage, Last Stand P for Goombella for help her survive more, Super Appeal for extra star power in case you can't do much to your enemy, and most of all, Piercing Blow, since some enemies will have really high defense and immunities that we cannot get past. I went with Piercing Blow, obviously, and Super Appeal, since they seemed the most helpful throughout the entire pit. And with that, this is where my original run starts. Finally, at long last, we can get this run started. Starting with floors 1 to 9, there isn't really much going on. You have very common enemies like Spinias and Nullbones, and some Galoombas, which is just a slightly better Goomba. These are really just warm-up floors for what's to come, so make sure you practice your super guards now. Super guarding is a mechanic where if you press B 3 frames right before getting hit, you'll instead take absolutely no damage, and the attacker takes 1 damage, assuming it's not from a projectile. This tech is vital to survival, so make sure you practice this very often. As for floors 1 through 9, they aren't really much of a threat, so they're not really worth talking about. It's pretty easy, so let's go ahead and go down to the next floors. The reward item for floor 10 is Sleepy Stomp, an actually useful badge for this run. This can be used to remove an enemy from the fight for a few turns, since sleep lasts for 5 turns for whatever reason. When they are hit again while sleeping, it's pretty much a 50-50 if they wake up or not. To be safe, try to sleep lock them by using it multiple times in a row. If there is only one enemy left, you can put them to sleep and use Street Treat to regain your HP and FP back, and also grind up some star power in the meantime. Floors 11 to 19 are a bit more difficult than the last ones, but still manageable. Cliffs show up on these floors, but either Piercing Blow or Power Smash will take care of them easily. Pokés also show up as well, and can be a bit difficult to super guard since they can attack both party members with a move. But still, it's pretty simple floors. Now we have reached floor 20, and this is where the run really starts. Here you will obtain the badge that makes this run possible, Fire Drive. This does 5 damage, is fire elemented, pierces defense, and leaves enemies with a burn for even more damage. However, the downsides is that it's a ground-only attack, doesn't hit enemies immune to fire, loses power for each consecutive enemy it hits, and costs a whole 5 FP. Even with those problems, it's still the best move for the run. Go ahead and try it out on floors 21 to 29, but make sure not to underestimate the enemies, because now they start to hit harder. One of the worst enemies on this floor are the Lakitus. They have 5 HP, can spawn Spinies, and worst of all, they can just randomly decide if they don't want to get hit or not. If they hold up a Spiny in their hands, you cannot hurt them at all, so you have to wait until they are nice enough to stop. You know, if they want to. Also on these floors are bandits, which, while not threatening, if you miss a guard and get something stolen, they will run away. If you complete the battle, the fight will not be treated as complete, meaning you have to fight the same floor battle again. If this happens to you, focus only on the bandit that stole from you, put him to sleep, and kill him immediately. Other than that, just fire drive what you can. This is also a good time to talk about leveling up, and what you should be investing in. At the beginning, make sure you at least have 10 FP. Other than that, it's really up to you. I went with getting all the BP I would need early on, and then getting as much HP as possible just for survival. On floor 30, I managed to run into this guy. He sells very helpful items for you for a high price. If you get anything, get Thunder Rages, since they hit every enemy on the floor for 5 damage. Also on floor 30 is Zap Tap, another useful badge. This makes anything that comes in contact with Mario take damage, like if he did a super guard. However, in most cases, you'll still take the full amount of damage that the enemy would have done. This gives you guaranteed damage on most enemy moves and makes some moves just flat out not work at all, like Fuzzies. Sadly, Goombilla doesn't get this ability, so it makes her kinda dead weight in some fights. Floors 31 to 39 are slightly less worrying, as there's mostly shield enemies here, and once you flip them over, they can't really do much to you. Shady Koopas appear, and the only tip I can give you for them is to not flip them over. Just use Fire Drive instead. Hyperclusts are also on this floor, and Power Smash just doesn't work well against them, so Piercing Blow is now the best move to use. They can also charge up to 9 attack power, so be very careful, take a deep breath if you need to, and time your super guard correctly. The reward item for floor 40 is... Wait, what? Why is there nothing in this chest? This is floor 40, right? What gives? Well, that sucks. Hopefully it wasn't something important that we needed. 41 to 49 is where the game starts to be really mean to you. There are these fire dudes which are annoying to guard against, flying Koopas, bulky bombs which pretty much require you to fire drive turn 1 to kill, and worst of all, spiky Parabuzzy. You can't jump on them because they're spiked, and you can't hammer them because they are flying. The only way to kill these guys is to super guard or zap tap them to death. And it takes a very, very long time. This is also where enemy position can come into play. Logically, if an enemy is near you, it takes less time for them to hit you and less time to react than if they were in the back instead. They can also either attack Mario or Goombella, so it can even get tricky to know which one is being attacked in the first place. However, even with all of that, they thankfully only have 5 HP, so 5 perfectly timed super guards is all it takes to proceed. 450 gives the semi-helpful Strange Sack. This doubles the amount of items you can carry up to 20. If you picked up Item Hog, you will more than likely get the most use out of this. You can also pick up more Thunder Rages, which are still useful even now. Now it's time for the second half of this heck. 51 to 59 is now recolor territory. Everything hits harder and has much more HP. Hopefully you've been practicing your super guards, since this is where it's most helpful. Bandits return and the same rules apply from before, except this time, these can steal your badges. Dark boos are just better boos. Clefs are the same, except they thankfully can't charge up. Ice puffs are annoying since they can freeze you and kill you easily. Red chomps also show up. However, they're pretty easy to super guard. While these floors are definitely a jump in difficulty, they're still not impossible, and we can still make it to floor 60. Floor 60 rewards us with Double Dip. This lets you use 2 items on Mario's turn, and is mostly used as a major backup in case something is really bad. Upon entering floor 61, you are met with pure evil. Dark Lakitus are even worse versions of Lakitus. They have 13 HP, way more attack, though are even worse spinies that can even charge up an attack and are just annoying as their regular counterparts. The best strategy to take them down is to sleep lock them and hope they don't ever wake up. Dry bones also appear and are pretty strong, but since fire can kill them for good, they aren't that bad of a problem. And same goes for the frost piranhas. We also have dark craws, which have 20 freaking HP and hit really hard. Most notably though are the dark wizards, which can do a variety of things. When one wizard is left, however, it will split up, but Fire Drive easily counters this, pretty much meaning it's dead. All in all, this is still going very well, and I'm pretty sure it will be just fine. Oh. This is also another problem you could have. Stage RNG. Depending on your level, random things can happen on stage, like hitting a random person, or giving a random status to somebody. There are even really obscure things that can happen. When I say obscure, I mean obscure. This can be very helpful at times, but they're not really. Especially if it gives you fog. Floor 70 gives us Double Dip P, because you know, they totally need to separate this ability into a Mario version and a partner version, am I right? Yeah. 71 to 79 are by far the hardest floors you will encounter. There are chain chumps that hit harder, wizards that have more HP and are smarter since they don't split up at all, dark Koopa trolls that have way too much HP, and my least favorite enemy in the whole game, Phantom Embers. They are just hard to guard against, do a lot of damage, are immune to Fire Drive, and have 10 HP. To be honest, just use 2 Thunder Agents and skip that garbage. It is just not worth it. There's also Sloopulas. They don't really do much to you. By now you should have a big amount of HP, so you should be able to survive a bit. Make sure to heal up as much as you can when you get a chance. Floor 80 gives us Bump Attack. While it has no use in the run, if you do manage to beat the challenge, you pretty much never have to fight another regular enemy again. So that's cool. 81 to 89 is Recolor City once again. If you can super against the normal version of these enemies, then you shouldn't have too much trouble on these floors. Spinias are easy to guard, but do very heavy damage if you mess up. Piranha Plants are similar. While they have the highest attack power of any enemy in the pit, they are still very simple to super guard. Dark Bristles are just less annoying and easier to super guard Spiky Parabuzzies. While they come in less groups, they do 8 damage and have 8 HP, so it's very worrying if you do mess up once. By far the worst enemy, however, is the Tarantulas. They can come in groups of 4, have 16 HP, and have 2 different attacks, 1 hit for 7 damage or 3 hits for 4 damage each, and it's very sporadic and can mess up your timing. This is also when Sleepy Stomp might not work sometimes, as enemies are now getting resistant to sleep. If it does, however, make the most out of it. Floor 90 gives us Lucky Day, a very helpful badge. This Swift Pretty Lucky gives us a pretty good chance of dodging an attack, but don't be over reliant on it though, as it is just up to luck if you do. We have now reached the deepest part of the pit. 91 to 99 is the ultimate challenge. We now have elite wizards that come in great numbers, have 12 HP and 8 attack, but they're just as smart as dark wizards, which isn't saying much. The other biggest threat are poison puffs. They also have 8 attack, but can also charge up for an attack that can do 10 damage, hits both party members, and poisons you. Also, while they're charging, they're immune to direct attacks, like if he had Zap Tap himself. Other enemies are Bombalooks, which, just like their earlier version, require to be Fire Drive turn 1. If you are low on HP, you can Sweet Treat, run away, and grind star power as much as you want before they blow up on turn 5. There's also Slampires. They also don't do much. However, there is still one enemy on these floors that can show up. The Amazy Daisy. This thing has 20 HP and 20 attack power. If you see this thing, hope and pray to God that it runs away. If it stays and attacks, pray that it either misses or be the gamer that you are and super guard the attack. Congratulations! We have made it to floor 99. There's only one more floor left to go. Take a deep breath, heal if you have the items, and ready the badges that will actually be useful, and let's head down inside. It's Bonetail time. While he may look threatening at first, he's really just a single elite wizard with more HP, 200 to be exact. He has 3 different moves he can do, a stomp that is simple to super guard, different kinds of fire breath that is tricky to time, and a super fast bite that can't be guarded at all. They all do 8 damage while the fire breath, depending on the color, can put you in a status. The general strategy is to Sweet Treat your missing health and FP back while fire driving and regaining your star power back. If you run out of FP, appealing is also an option, and very rarely your only option. If you're having trouble with his attacks, just practice on Hooktail, since she has the same moveset except the bite, which you can't guard anyway. Once below half health, he may occasionally heal 20 HP, however, he'll only do this twice during the fight. With enough patience and endurance, this fight is still 100% possible to complete. With the death of Bonetail, he will spit up the ultimate treasure, and we can mark down the completion of the Pit of 100 Trials. So, can you beat the Pit of 100 Trials in the Prologue? Yes. Yes, you can. It may take you a few attempts, and some practice, and a heck of a lot of endurance, but yes, it is still possible. Thank you for watching the video today. If you liked this video, let me know, and if you didn't like this video, let me know also, and tell me how I can improve. This took forever to make, and I had plans to make this years earlier, and I just never had the motivation to edit, and I still don't to this day. I'd like to give a shout out to some people. I'd like to give a shout out to Coop and Scowl. Scowl? How do you pronounce your name? For the motivation for me to do this challenge years ago. I'll put links to their runs in the description below, along with my old original run that you've been watching the entire time. I would also like to give a shout out to Cappy, JD Easter, and the entirety of the Paper Mario Challenge running Discord server for helping me with some knowledge and strategies. Honestly, without all of them, I probably wouldn't have done this challenge at all. Anyway, I'll see you guys next video.